Trigger warnings for Chapter 2. Mentions of almost death or car crashing. How the fuck do I phrase this? He almost gets ran over. That's how I phrase that. Mention of scars, guns, and knives. Robbing shit, man. What do you expect? It's a villain at you. If I forgot anything, let me know. This is Chapter 2 of my wonderful story, House of Cards. So, the song recommendation for this chapter is Boogie by Brockhampton. I can't play that here, or else the YouTube will kill me. No! But, yes. As Tommy reached his apartment door, he grabbed out his keys from his back pocket. Unlocking the door, he swears he could hear yelling through the thin walls. Tommy opened the door to their small apartment. As he stepped in, he realized it was Tubbo's yelling. He stood up, hands leaning and supporting him on the table. You fucking bitch! Who charges $1,000 for just landing on their shit? He's now waving his hands around excessively, joking with the other boy. Sucks to be you, Ranbu laughs out, crossing his arms, still sitting in his beanbag chair at the coffee table. The creators of this game fucking suck, man. You're robbing me blind, Tubbo laughed out, pouting as he sat down and grabbed his only two 500s, handing them to the older boy. Kinda your own fault. Shouldn't have traded your park place for only $800, Ranbu teases. They both didn't notice the presence of Tommy. Only 800? Geez, Tubbs, you got robbed. Tommy joins the conversation, hanging up his coat and walking over to the boys at the coffee table. Both boys look up. Ranbu's tail shoots up defensively before immediately falling at realizing his younger brother came in. Toms, you're home, Ranbu said, smiling. It appears I am, Tommy jokes, sitting down next to Tubbo on the couch. Ranbu was across them, sitting on their beanbag chair. Who's winning? Tommy asks, pulling out his phone to check the dozens of notifications he's gotten in his time working. Well, obviously not the one to $52 to his name, Tubbo laughs, looking down at his sad money. Tommy looks up to see Tubbo's sad excuse of money. Ranbu's side being full of so much it's kind of going everywhere and not really organized. Tommy chuckles before speaking. Geez, Tubbs, how do you get so fucking poor? Tommy said, laughing at the younger boy. Ranbu's got all the fucking board, man, Tubbo said, pointing to the excessive amount of houses and hotels all on the board, all belonging to Mr. Boo. Little business he is, Tommy teased, causing the other villains to laugh. Tommy looked at Ranbu. He was smiling. His red and black flannel jacket is on, his villain outfit. Now that Tommy notices, Tubbo is in his too. A neon green jacket with a nice black undershirt. Both boys wear black ripped jeans. Ranbu notices Tommy's confusion and is quick to explain. Ah, yes, we're an outfit. We wanted to be all ready when you came home. Whatever, he said quickly, standing up and disappearing into the kitchen, probably to go grab his mask and gun. Yes, me and Boo have decided we want to rob the 24/7 gas station. They've got those cool stick candies you like, Tubbo said, also standing up and disappearing into the kitchen. Tommy smiled. They remembered. Geez, y'all are too nice sometimes, Tommy said, a small smile on his lips. He followed Tubbo into the kitchen. Tubbo made a beeline for the bathroom. He didn't close the door, so Tommy continued following the Ram hybrid. Just putting on my beanie and gas mask, then we can leave, he said, grabbing a neon green beanie from the counter. It has a little face on the brim. XP. Tommy thinks he should also get ready, so he disappears into his and Ranbu's shared room. Okay, this thingy is phrased weird, so ignore what it says and I'm gonna read what I want it to say. Hey Toms, is Tubbs getting ready? The villain asked. He was putting on his black surgical mask. It had a built-in voice changer, although nobody really knew his voice since he didn't really leave the house often, since his broken horn is a dead giveaway he's Nightmare. Yeah, he'll be ready soon. I still need a change, Tommy said, stepping over to his dresser and pulling out a black hoodie. The sleeves were cut off and it had a small Ace of Spades symbol on the right of his chest. He quickly took off his t-shirt, changing it for a black tank top so the sides wouldn't stick out awkwardly. He slipped on the hoodie and changed his pants to the black cargo pants he usually wears. Remembering the cold weather, he grabbed one of Ranbu's jackets. It was white and had black stripes going down the sleeves. He slipped it over his hoodie but didn't zip it up. Going over to the mirror to adjust his blindfold, Ranboo was presumably ready because the older villain left the room. Staring at himself in the mirror is weird. He didn't see Tommy, if that makes sense. He doesn't know how to word it, but the giant scar covering his right eye made him feel less like himself. It was 4 years ago. No time to grieve. Slipping on the blindfold, he looked like a villain. Well, he was a villain. The fifth wanted villain, to be exact. His name was Ace. Ranboo picked it for him and helped him stitch on the symbol on his hoodie. He grabbed a black earpiece from his desk. They all have it running on a 24/7 Discord call, and that's how they communicate while out and about. He lifted up the blindfold slightly and put it on his ear. Tommy thought his power was really cool. He had a deck of cards that he could summon into existence. Pulling one from the top made it glow a nice red and could be used as a ranged weapon, piercing his victims with such a force he could have just stabbed them. The higher the card he pulls, the more force and damage will be put into the landing. If he pulls the ace of spades, the card literally sets on fire. It doesn't burn him, but it leaves pretty nasty scars for the unsuspecting victim. "Do I need my sniper tubs?" he yelled out, looking at the sniper beside him. A black bag sits beside it. Even though Ace was missing half his vision, he was a pretty good shot. He just had to lift up his blindfold to actually see what he was shooting. "Nah, you should be good. Nightmare's bringing his pistol," Viper called out from the kitchen, his voice deeper due to the voice changer in his mask. Nightmare. He got his name for his lanky figure, being 6'7" had its perks at intimidation. He was also just creepy as hell. His power was also pretty cool. He could teleport a good distance around him. In the air or primes underwater, his power is very limited, only working a few feet in front of him. His horns glowed purple when he was teleporting. His tail also glowed. Anyone he was touching will also teleport with him. Water burns him, since he is an Enderman Blazeborn hybrid. He's got burn scars right under his eyes from the excessive amounts of crying he did as a child. Poor little boy. He has a suppressed pistol that he stole from a gun store. He also stole Ace's sniper from there. He tried stealing Viper one too, but he refused, saying, "I like stabbing people better, man." He has these cool electric sparks he uses. They come from his hands and can be used as ranged or close up. His horns also shoot sparks when he uses it. Ace walked into the kitchen. Both other villains were also ready in their villain outfits. Viper had a neon green gas mask on, and it had a built-in voice changer. Viper's power was interesting. He had an acid/venom-like substance shoot from his hands. When making contact with skin, it burns and digs into their skin, injecting venom with the per person. If it isn't treated with medicine, it'll slow down the person, slowly killing them. It'll take about 5 hours before becoming untreatable. "We ready?" Nightmare asked. He was leaning against the counter next to Viper. His suppressed pistol stick out from his front pocket. "We finna fuck some shit up tonight." The younger villains both nodded, walking over to the fire escape window. They all climbed out. Nightmare last to get out since his horns kept catching on the window. After they were all out on the fire escape, Nightmare grabbed the other's hands. His horns sparked and glowed purple, indicating him teleporting. Suddenly, they were all down in the alley right before the apartment complex. Nightmare led them down the alley towards the gas station. The certain one they were robbing, the one with Pocky, was just a few minutes away from their apartment. They arrived in a nearby alley. They all saw the gas station outside of the alley. "Okay, I'll take care of the store employee. You guys bag as much shit as you want. I'll get the cash," Nightmare said, pulling out his gun from his pocket. Viper noticed this and reached for his dagger, pulling it out too, just in case. Viper and Nightmare had backpacks on. Y'all don't have an extra bag, do you?" Ace asks, laughing at the end. It was stupid. I mean, he knew he was robbing a place. Why didn't he bring his bag? It was right beside his sniper. Like, come on, man. "No, did you not bring yours?" Viper said, looking back at the Blazeborn villain. "I might have forgot it," Ace says, refusing to make eye contact. "All good, Ace. Just steal a bag. I think they have some in the front," Nightmare reassures. "That's good. Really didn't want to turn around," Viper jokes before Nightmare stepped out into the street lamp, making a mad dash towards the gas station door. Nightmare kicked down the door. He could have just opened it, but he needed that dramatic effect, right? He pointed the gun at the poor girl working register that night. Put all the money in the bag and no one gets hurt, he says, like a badass. Ace and Viper are also quick to run in. Ace quickly yoinking a simple red bag and quickly filling it with Pocky. Is there better stuff he can steal? Yes. Does he give a shit? No. And I missed my spot. No, he just wants Pocky. Viper, on the other hand, stayed in the front with Nightmare, demanding the little knife rack to be unlocked. There was like 2 people inside, both on the ground, probably due to Nightmare's threats. Just in case, he held out his hand, his deck of cards summoned into this realm, finding a cozy spot in his hand. He kept looking for overpriced shit that looked nice, while making sure nobody on the ground tried to stab his kneecaps or some weird shit. Looking around, he shoved shit in his bag. Pocky, more Pocky, some of Ranbu's favorite monster, a cool shirt that had a picture of a raccoon on it. All important stuff, you know? Nightmare was still threatening the girl. She was in so much shock. Instead of, giving him the money, she curled up into a ball on the floor and started sobbing quite loudly. Viper jumped over the counter, knocking down a lot of piled up stuff, but he didn't care. He didn't care for the employee jumping over her to get to the key on the back counter. Nightmare also jumped over the counter, carefully though, to not step on the worker. He opened the register and pulled out as much cash as he could, shoving it in his bag. Viper was quick in opening the knife cabinet, pulling out some sick-ass looking knives and shoving them in his bag too. Ace was still messing around and grabbing pointless shit when he heard Nightmare's modified voice call out from the front. You ready, Ace? Hearing this, he ran up to the front. Seeing Nightmare and Viper jump the corner, he noticed the girl still crying and called out to her as they left. Thank you. Bye-bye. He got free Pocky. I mean, he did steal them, but hey, not a dime from his wallet was missing, so he had to thank her. As expected, no answer came. As they ran out into the parking lot, they heard police sirens down the road. Shit, someone must have called the Popo, Viper said, catching up with the other villains. They ran down, ducking into the alley they came from. As they ran, there was no obvious sign anyone was following them, so Nightmare took a second to teleport them all to the roof of a nearby building. Once on the roof, they all thought zipping up their bags was a good idea, seeing the discarded money trail in the alley. They were quick on their feet, jumping from roof to roof, trying to get back into the lower district. Tommy felt so alive doing things like this, running from the cops at 2 a.m. after just robbing a gas station. It felt unreal. He caught a glimpse of red wings above them. Shit, guys, Red's right above us, Ace said, running like his life depended on it. Well, it kind of did. The other 2 looked up and saw him too. Still running, Viper jumped down and landed in the alley. Nightmare and Ace joined him quickly and continued running under the cover of the shadows. They all heard Red above him, trying to look through the dark to find the young villains. They stopped running and ducked behind a dumpster, trying to not get spotted by him. It works, because they hear the flap of wings dying out as he gets further away from their hideout. Tommy's glad he didn't find them. He doesn't think he can see Red after what happened earlier that night. Ace doesn't think he needs his cards right now, so he throws the deck upon the air. It disintegrates, leaving only ashes in its place. Alright, let's go home, guys, Nightmare says, slowly getting up. The other boys get up too. They all slowly made their way to the alley exit, rushing into the street to cross to the other side. They were so busy they didn't even see the speeding car. A blue Mercedes came almost crashing into Viper, the villain having to jump out of the way last second. Primes! I almost just fucking died, dude! He calls out to no one in particular, shaking off his near-death experience. Don't do that, Ranbu calls out jokingly. I might. Seems tempting, Tubbo teased, running into the alley with his friends. We're almost home. Let's go, Ranbu called out, reaching another street. Their apartment complex was in view. Shut the fuck up, Miles. Please just read this normally. Oh my god. Ranbu crossed the road. Tommy quickly followed. Tubbo made sure to look both ways before crossing. No dying today. Rushing into the alley beside the apartment complex, Ranbu grabbed all their hands again. Purple glowed around his horns as they teleported up into the fire exit. Tubbo was the first to enter their rooms, quickly sliding in through the window and throwing his bag full of stolen knives onto the couch. Tommy quickly slid in too, gently setting his bag of precious items next to Tubbo's before digging out a shirt and walking off to his room with it. Ranboo was last again, making sure not to catch his horns on anything. Once he was inside, he shut the window behind him. He threw the bag of cash and his gun onto the couch and made his way into the kitchen, making himself a cup of coffee. Tubbo also had the same idea, because when Ranboo turned the corner, there stood the Ram hybrid, making himself a homemade vanilla latte. "Sup, bro?" was all he said before focusing back on the coffee. "Prick." Tommy removed his blindfold and earpiece, looking at his ruffled hair and scarred eye in the mirror. He quickly chucked the jacket and hoodie off, changing into sweats and his newly acquired raccoon t-shirt. After coffee was made and villain outfits were off, they gathered on the couch to finish the Monopoly game and chat about their successful crime.